Hey there, how you doing? So we're going to take a little bit of a break from our usual days of online course development, and we're going to try something a little bit different. Today we're going to set up a series of tutorials about how to use MS Word, and specifically how to use MS Word with a view to making it friendly for editing. Okay, so this implies that you're working in a team concept, or in our case, the academic world, where we have a supervisor and student situation. And so inevitably, you're going to have to do a whole pile of edits as you integrate the different perspectives going forward. And if you set up your document right from the start with a view to making sure that those edits can be managed, you're going to save yourself a whole lot of heartache. So that's what we're going to do. We'll set it up. We'll cover the fundamentals out the door, and then I'll set up a series of subsequent tutorials on the various skills that you might need to integrate in order to set up your document properly. So hopefully you'll be able to find those gems which are useful to you and make your document a quality piece of work that is going to save you a lot of heartache. Let's get at it. So in setting up a document nowadays, we really do want a single document to contain the entirety of the thesis or the paper that you're putting together. Long gone are the days where the computers are not strong enough or capable enough to handle the entire document, even a complex one. And so, things are just a lot easier to do. So whatever legacy concerns you might have about breaking a document into chapters or something like that, probably not the best way to go. So we have a couple things to look at. And the first thing we want to do is to make sure that you're able to get the right feedback on your document. So if it's not showing, and here I have it turned off, so you're normally in your home document when you turn it on, and we want to go to view and make sure that the ruler is turned on, because this is going to tell you all you need to know about the document setup as far as the margins and where your tabs might be and your indents. And we'll go over all that as we're setting it up, but make sure your ruler's turned on. It shows up both on the side and at the top of your document. Now I have mine set up in inches. That is customary in Canada, despite us being an SI nation. Some things are holdovers from our past or our proximity to the United States, and so we do tend to do our documents still in inches, and so I've got that turned on. If you're more familiar with millimeters, just switch it over in preferences and away you go. So you need to set up your margins. So if we go to layout, and this gives you all of the stuff you need to know about how your sections are broken, your margins are set up, that type of thing. And over the first button is your margins. And they give you a couple standard options, or you can choose customize, and you can set them all up. Certainly in the past, we tended to go with what we called a gutter, or the left margin, having a slightly larger margin. And this was accommodating binding. So that little bit of space that gets lost on the page due to the binding, and it allows you to accommodate that. Nowadays, we tend to be more focused on digital reproduction and online viewing, so the idea of a gutter seems to have gone by. So we're just going to stick with normal. We'll use 1-inch margins. If you have something else that you want to do, this is where you're going to be able to set that up. The other thing you should be aware of is your orientation. I'll be working primarily in portrait mode. You could, on a specific document, be working in landscape or a specific component of the document. It is possible to switch orientations partway through a document and switch back. You just need to stay consistent within the section. And so you would have to insert a section break, and we'll talk about that when we get into those components later on, and then change the orientation, change it back in the next section. I'm just looking here to see what else we want to do. To be fair, I think the other thing I want to do before we get setting up, I'm going to go back to my home tab, is introduce you to this little button here, the show hide button. Now what it does, I'm just going to press it here, is you can now see all of the hidden marks, be they spaces, tabs, return marks. What you see on there is a standard return mark, which indicates a paragraph, so you're contained within a paragraph, and it helps to be able to see those. Now, when you go to do your reviewing and looking to see how the document looks, you probably want to turn them off because they do complicate the scene. But for the most part, they can be really useful when it comes to the layout. So we can turn those on and off as we see fit. Through most of the tutorials, I will have them on because it will give you that feedback of what it is that you're actually doing. So I'm just going to turn it on and we'll leave it there. Okay, so we've covered layout. We've got the show hide tool to see what we're doing. We've adjusted our margins if we need to and all that. We're really ready to start adding content, and that's where things get interesting. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to close this little video so that it stands alone, and I'm going to open up another one where we start talking about the fundamentals of typesetting and word processing, and this is where it all really starts to matter. So tune in for that. I think it's where the good gems are going to start, and we're going to set the foundation, a quality foundation for an editable document moving forward. Thanks.